Hello and welcome back to my channel, Afrik Psych. My name is Funi. So today's topic will be about sexual cheating. If you remember in my previous video, I talked about emotional cheating. Before I proceed, I'd like to leave a disclaimer that these are my opinions and no one else's opinions. So basically, the day you decide to take a relationship to the next level or commit yourself to a relationship, it changes the dynamics of that relationship completely. You do not identify yourself as an individual anymore with regards to that relationship. You start seeing yourself as a unit or an item. By committing to the relationship, you are not committing to the person you think you already know, but you're committing to the person that you are going to learn throughout the lifespan of that relationship. So a lot of people get surprised when their partner starts behaving in a certain way that they do not approve of, claiming that the person is changing, only forgetting that this person is now becoming who they really are. There is no need to impress you anymore to try and prove that they do qualify to be your partner. They do not change, but have reached a stage where they are comfortable and confident in themselves around you. The strength of the relationship will be determined by how one accepts this so-called new person or how tolerant they are regarding to the so-called new character. Being in a committed relationship means that both partners have an agreement on how they want their relationship to go, and they understand the dynamics of that relationship. You are not committed if you do not consider yourself exclusive and if you still have other things that you are doing or seeing other people without your partner's knowledge or approval or consent. A lot of people consider themselves in committed relationships, but according to their actions, they are not. So, sexual relationship is one that involves sexual intimacy. So, sexual cheating means engaging in sexual or romantic relationships with a person other than your partner, and you are actually breaking a commitment or promise in the act of that cheating. So, I will be discussing a few things throughout the video. The first one would be what causes a partner to cheat. And this is in general, basically, no specific gender. So, the biggest reason for cheating is agreeing to be in a committed relationship for the wrong reasons. And those wrong reasons might be fear of being alone, the satisfaction of having someone rely on you. There's people like that, being the savior, basically. So a person would commit into a relationship because they want to be a savior for that relationship or that specific person. So just going with the flow because the opportunity presented itself. Which is wrong, but I mean, some people might be at the right place at the right time, and then boom, a relationship starts. And hoping to have something to fall back on when times are hard. So, in that instance, you are basically a spare tire or a spare wheel because they will only consider you in a relationship with them when something wrong happens in their current serious relationship, basically. Another one is being in a partnership for the sake of the children or the parents or the sake of whatever reason you might have. I personally strongly believe that the greatest achievement in life is when one does things for their own sake and not anybody else's sake. And I include your children in that, everybody's sake. I mean, after all, it is your life. You should not be doing things for the sake of other people's lives or well being, while in the interim, you are actually neglecting your own well being. So, now, once you have committed yourself to that relationship or partnership, these are some of the reasons a partner might engage in sexual cheating. Before I proceed, according to Proverbs chapter 9, verse 17, it says, stolen water is sweet, food eaten in secret is delicious, for those who believe in the Bible. But anyway, that's a topic for another day. I don't want to delve into the Bible right now. So, next I'll be discussing why men cheat, specifically men. The reason why men cheat. So, from a very young age, a kid looks up to one person and they start mimicking how that person portrays themselves in society. Whatever that person does will always be regarded as the best way of living to that kid. So, for example, if as a boy, my father was promiscuous, and he was my role model, I as a kid will regard that same behavior as a good behavior, and it shows or proves my masculinity. So that kid will grow up with the belief that being promiscuous is the right thing to do. Some of the underlying causes behind men cheating started from childhood, and they need to deal with that before they become a better person to their partner. So, as a man, if you have that kind of a childhood, you need to actually see someone, see a therapist to deal with those issues, to understand where you were wrong as a kid, to believe whatever that was going on with your role model before you actually commit yourself to someone. Because committing yourself to someone while you still have issues that you have not dealt with, which make you believe that everything that you're doing is right, it's wrong for that specific partner. So another reason is wanting to prove masculinity through having multiple partners. Some people believe that if you have multiple partners, then you are man. You are the man. You are seen as the stronger version of all the genders, which is wrong. I mean, seriously, you actually lose respect through doing that. The fact that you have multiple partners and no one is holding you accountable for the consequences makes you feel more of a man. You need to deal with your inferiority complex before committing to someone else. So, uh, this one, men in South Africa, particularly, or other neighboring countries which would speak the language, they believe in the saying, "Monna ke selepe, o lala a adimilwe," which simply translates to a man is an ex, he gets borrowed every night. He can have multiple partners. I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? Clearly, whoever came up with that folk was a promiscuous man. So, I mean, from our generation, the millennials and back, we grew up learning these things in school. What this was preparing us for, I have no idea. Another one, according to the Bible, King Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines for whatever reason we are told. Anyway, that is another story for another day. I don't want to delve into the Bible again. There are still a lot of Solomons out there, but bro, I mean, you ain't a king, and there is nothing political or otherwise about your infidelity. It's just pure cheating. Having excuses such as my partner is not submissive enough and she doesn't listen to me, those are the other reasons why a man would cheat. I mean, submission is a two-way street, same as communication. Watch my previous video on emotional cheating. I did delve a little bit into communicating effectively. When a woman is not totally yours, meaning that you have not declared your relationship as exclusive, she will do everything in her power to prove how much of a good woman she is to you. Hence, when you are cheating, the side chick will always appear to be good in everything. She will do anything you ask her to do. She will behave totally different from how your partner behaves. Meanwhile, you are forgetting that she has not yet taken the responsibility of the two of you. She is still all about her. She doesn't carry the burden of worrying about your well being. You have your partner for that. So she has all the time in her hands to impress you. Remember the 80-20 rule. So, not being taken care of by your partner, trying to fix things and nothing seems to work. Some guys do try and make things work before they actually go out there and seek for something else. Any one person can only tolerate up to a certain point. There are men who try to make their relationships work, but they just seem to not get through to their partners. And in that instance, obviously, once a person starts seeing that they're not taken serious in their relationship, they will try and find something, some sort of solace out there from another partner. Some reasons why men cheat is just pure selfishness and what we call buffet, hoeing. That's it. No other excuse. You're just a hoe. Thinking you are smarter than all the other guys who have been caught. You're gonna get caught one day, trust me. Some people they cheat because they think they are better cheaters than other people out there. There's no better cheater. I mean, eventually, that sweet stolen juice is going to get bitter. And once it gets bitter, you realize that you actually lost a lot of things that you would have avoided losing had you stayed faithful to your partner. Another biggest reason is being deprived of sex. And let's be honest, sex is the main reason you two got together and eventually fell in love. Before meeting the friends and family, marriage, kids, sex was the main thing. So a man will go out there and look for sex elsewhere. Um, if you as a woman are not actually providing for him sexually, if you going to try and punish him by sleeping with tight shorts at night and making sure that you're sleeping with separate blankets and trying to actually make him get hurt, in the long run you are hurting yourself because you are actually pushing him, you are nudging him to go and look for sex elsewhere. In Setswana, re re, "Ga e je bogobe." It don't eat no pap. It doesn't eat food like your normal food. It has to eat another thing, or intimacy, for those who understand. Another reason is sexual addiction and not wanting to admit or not seek help. Some people are sexually addicted and they don't want to admit to their partners that they are sexually addicted. And if you do actually admit to your partner of your addiction, you might be lucky to find that your partner actually has the energy and the appetite for your addiction. You never know. But the problem is you keep it to yourself, it's embarrassing, and then you would rather go out there and sleep with multiple partners only to lose this one partner who would have been there for you throughout everything. Remember, a relationship is not just about sex, it's about everything. About a person being there for you, a person listening to you, a person caring about you, about your well being, and everything that has to do with you as their partner. So it's not just about sex. You need to learn to communicate with your partner about everything, even your addiction as well. So a man can sleep with someone else and not develop any means of attachment or emotional feelings or love for that person. For him, it is just sex, just physical, nothing personal. They're just having sex just for the fun of it, and that's it. And there are people who just go out there and have sex just for the fun of it. Another one is trying to prove oneself by having a baby or babies. If there's no sign of fertility in the relationship, and wait, in most cases, the woman is to blame. Another thing that our boys grew up hearing from the other generations, it is all a woman's fault when there is no child in the relationship or marriage. I personally do not believe in that nonsense. Hence, I always refer to infertility in the relationship and not a woman's inability to conceive. We don't conceive by ourselves. It's a two-way street. So in this case, especially with married men, their families might put pressure on them to seek a child from another capable woman. With the fear of losing their partner or not communicating with their partner, or the belief that the female partner is the one with the problem, they will go outside of the relationship to seek that validity that they are man enough. A child does not make you man enough. If it did, all men would be there for their children and they would actually be good fathers to their children. So, in most cases, you are just donating your sperm and then that's it. So, it does not prove your manhood or masculinity because you have children. Another one last opinion that I have with regards to why men cheat is that a man does not necessarily need a reason to cheat. Sometimes it is just for the thrill of it. So I would actually advise that leave a fantasy to stay there as a fantasy. Because if you're going to feel dirty after you do something, then it means that you're trying to live out your fantasy and it's supposed to be a fantasy. Everybody has fantasies, you just don't have to act on them. So there isn't a lot of points about women cheating, and maybe I'm being biased because I'm a woman, or maybe there aren't a lot of reasons anyway. So, as women, because we grew up listening and learning what is said about men and relationships, and them being exes, and then them having many wives and concubines, it became very rare for a woman to cheat for the same reasons as a man. Because we believe that a man had more power or was allowed to actually cheat, while it was frowned upon for a woman to cheat. Remember back in the Bible, the woman, people wanted to stone a woman for cheating. But men could have many concubines and still there was no stoning. So we grew up learning those things and we believed in them. I think that's the reason why less women actually cheated for no reason. One biggest reason that a woman cheats is because they lack something in their current relationship and they go and look for that one little thing outside. It could be something very small, like you don't tell me I look beautiful, you don't tell me you love me, you don't appreciate me. Those little things would actually lead a woman to go out there and seek, comfort from other people. The majority of the affairs don't just start with sex, but with emotional cheating first, and then that emotional cheating leads to sexual cheating. The woman will try to talk to their partner without success. It also, remember, depends on their methods of communication. Back to my previous video about emotional cheating. Remember, a screaming kid in the supermarket will not be taken serious by anyone. So maybe instead of communicating, you are just talking at your partner and they are not hearing anything you are saying. Hence, they go out and seek comfort in the arms of another. So be careful how you communicate with your partner with regards to the things that are lacking in your relationship for the partner to actually listen and hear you out. One other reason is settling for a partner that doesn't meet all or half of your standards or preferences. You do have standards and preferences. Everybody has standards and preferences. So once you decide that you're settling for something less than what you're looking for, you will obviously look for the remainder elsewhere. So stop settling, because I mean, from my perspective, men don't settle. And why is that? Does that mean that men actually love themselves more than we do? If that's the case, then as women, we need to start appreciating ourselves, believing in ourselves, and actually loving ourselves more than the next person. Because you cannot love the next person without knowing how to actually love yourself first. Another reason is being hurt so much that vengeance is the only thing that makes you feel fulfilled. You need help. Trust me, you need help. You cannot keep on punishing others for someone else's wrongdoing. Where and when is it going to end? The hurt that you're causing on another person, and it's not their fault. It is just going to be one long emotional roller coaster for all parties involved, and their parties and their parties and so on. So it just goes around and around in circles. It circles back until it comes back to you. So the hurt doesn't really go away, it just accumulates and comes back and becomes bigger. Another reason is trying to make ends meet, and that's a lot in the rural areas, because of poverty and stuff like that. So a lot of women would try and make ends meet by having a sexual partner, but you are getting money or materialistic things in order to survive. So basically, that person is not your partner in a way. It's a business transaction just to make sure that you are actually going to survive. So no judgment from me, no judgment at all. But if that is the only way to survive, then men should also do it a lot, because all genders are struggling at some point. And one last one is the fact of just being, say, fair, fair, a hoe. You do not need an excuse. You are just hoeing. J. That's it. What's fair? Case closed. One last thing though, for both genders, it's pure temptation. That's it. We all get tempted. But how you deal with it depends on an individual and how much they value their relationship. Some people can be very persistent and convincing, which leads to your partner eventually succumbing to having a sexual relationship with them. So you have to be a very strong person to be able to walk away from temptation. I try and run, because walking away, they might catch up with you. Look, people get tempted, and believe you me, I don't think cheating is very difficult, because it brings out that excitement in you. So it's not difficult to cheat, but it's a lot of work. It's too difficult to not be tempted to cheat, because if temptation comes at your door and it's that strong, it takes a very strong person to walk away from it. So it's not easy not to cheat. So I take my head off to everyone who tries by all means to protect their partners and respect their partners and not succumb to cheating. So when you decide to be in an exclusive relationship, you need to define it to one another in such a way that there is no one misleading the other. Sometimes a person just wants something to pass time with, i.e., a rebound from the loss of someone or something they valued. No strings attached. Now, the problem with no strings attached, it starts with an understanding between all parties involved until one of you starts wanting more than what was agreed upon. In this case, you cannot claim infidelity. You just allowed yourself to be in an exclusive relationship by yourself. Sorry, you have no one else to blame but yourself. When you love someone, being cheated on is the most painful you could ever feel. There are no specific or general words that can explain the multiple feelings that come rushing down like a landslide. No matter how hard you try, the only thing you have control over is your head. Your entire being is slowly sinking into the man's sinkhole. The only difference is if you can get yourself out of it or how you can get yourself out of it. Remember, you can get yourself out of it, but the question you need to ask yourself is how many times you will sink and get out again and again and again. Being cheated on multiple times and accepting it. Ask yourself, how many times are you going to allow that? How many times are you going to actually go through that feeling? Because if you go through that multiple times, you end up not even having any feelings. You end up being dead inside. Unfortunately, one cannot cover everything related to cheating in one video. It would probably be the longest video because, I mean, there's a lot that we can talk about with regards to cheating. So I've decided to break it down piece by piece because indeed this is a very huge elephant to bite on, and it doesn't matter how big of a chunk I bite, it still remains as if it wasn't bitten. So you are more than welcome to add your opinion on the comment section below, and be sure to watch my next video. In my next video, I will be discussing the effects of cheating, because obviously I've discussed the two different kinds of cheatings. Now I need to discuss the effects of cheating on both partners, both the cheater and the one who's been cheated on. Once again, please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, like the video and share, and also remember to turn on your notifications so you can be the first to know when a new video is uploaded on my channel. Thank you once again for watching to the end.